I'd like to thank Carissa McKnight for this article. Many of you remember Amber Guyger is facing trial, and I believe it's set for August of this year for the shooting death of Botham John. Well, the prosecutor is throwing out every single arrest case with Amber Guyger attached to it. So anybody that she arrested, their cases are now being thrown out of court. I don't think I've ever heard this happening before any cop went to trial. So this is real interesting, y'all. People arrested by trigger happy Amber Guyger are having their cases dismissed. And they are saying in this article that 9 people so far had their cases thrown out. So this came out in News One today, the 25th of April. Wow. At least 9 people who were arrested by Dallas police officer who was eventually accused of murdering a man in his own home have had their cases dismissed, according to a new report. The development could be damning for Amber Guyger, the now former cop that was indicted for breaking into the home of Botham John before shooting him to death. All of the dismissed cases originated before Guyger killed Botham John, a 26-year-old native of St. Lucia, who was simply home watching TV when the off-duty officer illegally entered and killed him under implausible excuse that she thought he was burglarizing her own apartment. So remember, she didn't know where she lived, according to her. Citing court documents, the Dallas News reported the Dallas County prosecutors in one case wrote that they were seeking the dismissal because the fire officer was indicted for murdering an innocent man in his own home. Interesting. You know, we have seen quite a few of these cops indicted, but, this is the first time I've heard of them throwing all of the cops' cases out, as far as who they arrested. Well, I'm glad for those 9 people, whoever they are. Okay, so the prosecutors were going so far to dismiss the cases that Guyger brought in that could indicate how strongly they feel their case against a former cop is. The implication was that prosecutors were so confident that they secured Guyger's conviction that they were already getting ahead of any potential wrongful arrest lawsuits that could be initiated once the former cop is found guilty. Well, that's if she's found guilty, because we are in America. America don't believe in punishing their cops. Guyger's defense attorney, on the other hand, may be not nearly as confident as their prosecutorial counterparts of their latest move was any indication. Her murder trial was initially slated to begin in August before it was pushed back until late September. Okay, so they did move her case more than a year after Guyger killed John. There were also reports that Guyger, who have been out on bail since her indictment in December, may have violated the terms of her conditional release by living her best life and vacationing on a Caribbean cruise. Now, isn't that ironic? The guy that she killed was from the Caribbean, and she took a cruise to the Caribbean, which was subpoenaed for its records last month. In addition to possibly showing Guyger violated her bail, the subpoena could allow prosecutors to portray her as a carefree vacationer following what appeared to be a cold-blooded murder of an innocent man. There is also the testimony from an eyewitness who recorded a video. That's Bunny, who True Royal and I interviewed, and also Phil from the Advice Show also um, interviewed her, showing Guyger talking on her phone and paramedics removing John's body. Guyger's lawyer were scrambling to keep her from the witness stand. And remember, they tried to bring up Bunny's petty criminal record, very petty, by the way. Um, as if we care about that. I don't care what they dig up because I know how they operate in the media around here. This is what they do. Guyger herself has also taken painstaking measures to show her purported innocence, including getting a complete makeover in an apparent play for sympathy from the judge during a court appearance in January. Still, the apparent evidence is seemingly, of course, they're saying not in favor of Guyger, but we are in the US. The US don't like punishing cops. I don't care if everything's on video, they still don't like to do this. Very few cops in America are convicted. I mean, it's a fact. On September 6th, Guyger said that following a long day on the job as a Dallas police officer, she implausibly mistook his apartment for her own. And after ordering John not to move, shot him twice before realizing the errors of her ways. Whatever. She didn't even call a paramedic, y'all. She didn't even do that. Her story was met with doubt because of a number of factors, especially her assertion that John's door was ajar, and those doors are weighted. You cannot prop them open. If you open that door, it's going to shut, and let it go, it's going to shut immediately. You would probably be able to do it if you prop something in there to keep the door open, but it was just not sitting open like she's saying. She's lying. Video posted to social media by neighbors appeared to show the apartment doors in the building shut automatically, which seems to indicate that Guyger was lying, in addition to the inconsistencies in her alibi, which have changed several times. Dallas police, of which Guyger was a member for 5 years before being fired. And remember, Renee Hall tried to act like she couldn't fire her. Oh boy, worst police chief ever. Appeared to be helping to cover up the shooting for her colleague. The department was accused of allowing Guyger enough time to scrub her social media accounts. And remember, all she had was a bunch of shit talking about killing. And her story straight before turning herself in 3 days after killing John. It also gave Guyger enough time to move out. And if you remember, the police came and moved her out. Okay. So, she, although fired, still in cahoots very much with the Dallas Police Department and Texas Rangers that tried to make the charge manslaughter. I'm sure you all remember that. Okay. And I never heard of somebody moving during an investigation. You would figure the shooting happened at that apartment complex. Nobody should have been able to move until the investigation was over. They let her move immediately, and the cops went there and helped her move out of there. That's unheard of. It also gave Guyger enough time to move out of her apartment, which was never searched by police despite 5 warrants allowing them to do so. So the cops never, ever searched her apartment. They searched Botham John's apartment and claimed they found marijuana and ran to his funeral to say they found marijuana. Boy, these people are so lame. Murder charges against a police officer, notoriously hard to prosecute. There are roughly 1,000 police shootings every year in the United States, but officers seldom face justice. Yes, And they get out of it by declaring every single shooting justified, even when the video shows otherwise. That's how America get out of prosecuting cops. According to CNN, only 80 cops were arrested on murder or manslaughter charges for on-duty shootings between 2005 and 2017. That's it for all these trigger-happy cops around here. 80, 80. That's it. However, only 35% of those arrests led to convictions in the 12-year period. So they don't want to do anything. That's really clear. They don't want to do anything to a cop around here. They don't care what evidence is on that video camera or witnesses that are around. They don't want to do anything to cops. It's very clear. But please tell me what you think about these new developments. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.